Over the last 2 weeks, I did a two-part series around the topic of what your employees really want. One of the most critical points was that now, I believe more than ever, employees are communicating so loudly the need and the desire for work-life balance. As a matter of fact, a recent national survey showed that 68% of employees prefer work-life balance over even having higher pay. I don't know if that's ever been the case in society, that people want this so bad that they would even be willing to give up pay to get it. Live to work or work to live? This is a question that many members of the modern workforce are asking themselves. Am I living to work or am I working to live? And as leaders, as entrepreneurs, we got to navigate this challenge. For many people, work finishes at the end of the working day. But for many more, it can eat into the evening and even sometimes into the weekend. So now you have people bleeding into the weekend, bleeding into the evenings, and feeling like they're never off the clock. Some employees welcome this. They're built for it, they're wired for it. But statistics, they're telling us something different. And what statistically we're hearing is that most of the labor force is over this. They're done with it. Given the attention on this subject, I felt it would be good for us to let this topic breathe a bit. So today, on the Champion Forum podcast, we discuss how leaders need to be thinking about work-life balance. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we are talking about the leader's responsibility to create healthy work-life balance for the teams that they are leading. And maybe you're tuning in because you saw the title and you're like, finally, somebody is going to give us the formula to make this happen. Somebody is finally going to give us the formula to accomplishing this elusive work-life balance for our teams. And if that was you and that's why you tuned in, I'm just going to save you a lot of time because I'm about to disappoint you by telling you I don't think there is a clear answer. I see this as a very dynamic moving target, and I'm not sure anybody has perfected this. However, I will tell you that all of the organizations that I have seen do this extremely well, they've all begun their process by listening to their people. It has to start with that, right? Because you may build something beautiful that you think is beautiful, but your employees feel something very differently. And so you build what you believe is this perfect work-life balance structure, system, process, environment for them just not to like it. It reminds me of building this, grandiose treehouse for my kids. I'm talking about, this was the treehouse of all treehouses. And when I was growing up, the only thing I thought about was, man, how amazing would it be to have an amazing tree house? I was cutting wooden pallets and, putting them up in a tree, nails into the tree. Like, it was just a disaster. I had a lot of fun, but I'm always thought to myself, gosh, to have this amazing tree house would just be amazing. So guess what? When I became a dad, I made it my business. Oh, we're going to have a tree house. Now, you can look back into my social media to see pictures of this tree house. It was more like a penthouse in a tree is what it was like. As a matter of fact, once I built this thing, Dad, stayed in this thing for several nights because this thing was unbelievable. Had the pulley system like you see in the movies, and it had stairs coming up. This thing was beautiful. To my chagrin, my kids were never in this treehouse. And I was like, I would say I was furious about it. And I remember one time my wife pulls me to the side and she's like, I can't believe you're so mad about this. She's like, did you ever ask the kids if they wanted a treehouse? And to my response was, what kid would not want a treehouse this beautiful? Sometimes as leaders, we get this wrong because we're building something with the greatest of intentions. But what we're missing out on is what matters most to them, not to us. We can think in our minds this is what people want, but is it really? It's going to be impossible for you to accommodate everyone. But you can at least move forward with some options based off of what are you hearing, what are you learning from your team. This is going to at least help get you closer to the target. I think it's also very important that we educate ourselves on the norms that exist today so that we can get a sense of what is the average person saying about this subject. What is the average person saying about work-life balance? Work-life balance to some people could mean, look, I only want to work 60 hours a week. That's it. After 60 hours, I'm done. To other people, 60 hours would be like they're a prisoner and they're dying inside. We really don't know. But what I do want to do on the show today is give you some insight to at least get you thinking about how is this going to play into our environment? What system, what process, what environment are we going to build? And the first thing that I want to address is that we're hearing by and large from the populace is that people want flexibility in when and where they work. Now, I know some of you are like, Jeff, I got to stop you right there. I'm not going to let the tail wag the dog. I'm calling the shots around here. This is how it's going to be. I get it. It's sensitive. It's touchy. But 92% of employees want flexibility in where they work, and 80% of them want flexibility in when they work. This is according to a global talent trend report that LinkedIn put out recently. This shows a very strong preference for hybrid or remote work options, along with flexible schedules. Are you able? And look, I get it. There's people listening that are like, Jeff, I'm in retail. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not able to do it. You're talking to the wrong one. I got it. But all I want to challenge you with the episode today is say, what are you able to do? I know you can't do everything, but what can you do? Are you able to offer adaptable start and end times? Are you able? Or remote options when it's possible, especially for these certain assignments or tasks that don't require in-office presence. There are some that require in-office presence. I get that. You need workers. You need somebody on a backhoe. Got it. I got it. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. But what can you do? That is the question. What can you do that maybe you haven't thought about before? The second thing is this. We're hearing more and more that people want increased control over their work schedule, which kind of bleeds into the first one, right? There was a Gartner survey that came out that found that 55% of employees want greater control over their schedules, and they believe this helps them be more productive and less stressed. So what are we talking about? Scheduled autonomy. This autonomy is highly valued. And people are telling us that it enables them to better balance personal and professional responsibilities. And I hear what you're saying. You might be saying, well, Jeff, if I let them just go off and do work, productivity is going to go down. That's the concern that I always hear. And there's things that we can talk through that. So we have to manage what? Results, not just time in the chair. Could the answer be to focus on output, not hours? Are we so focused on hours? I mean, look, Quiet Quitting's telling us, I forget the name of the movie, but where the Bobs, some of you know what I'm talking about, Office Space, I think it was, where the guy comes in and he's basically like, look, I basically come in and do nothing. I sit at my cube and do absolutely nothing. Like, if it makes you warm and fuzzy that people's just sitting in a cube doing nothing, then knock yourself out. They can do that at home too. So maybe some of the answer is focus on outputs. Focus on productivity, not hours, not time spent. Set clear expectations. Ensure that people know what outcomes are expected without micromanaging the time spent on the task. Because time spent and output, they're really not the same, right? Encourage prioritization. Do people know what they should be focused on? Help your team prioritize their workload so that they can focus on high-impact tasks and not get bogged down by all the busy work and the minutia of the day. I'll bet if you categorized what are the main things that we need people working on, I bet you would find your productivity go through the roof. The third thing is to set clear boundaries and reduced after-hours work. This is a big one. This is huge. And I will tell you personally, I'm not a consultant that goes in and tries to help companies figure out work-life balance. That's not my specialty. But I can tell you this, over the last 5 years, it has been a hot topic of conversation, and I've been in front of many whiteboards helping people. And I will tell you, this is one that consistently comes up from employees, is this after-hours work. Matter of fact, 65% of employees reported that they expect clear guidelines for after-hours work and communications. And this came from a national study that was assessing the American labor force and their well-being. Think about this. 65%. This suggests that employees are looking for leadership to actively discourage this always on availability. If you're doing this as a leader at 7 p.m., 10 p.m., whether it's a text, a call, even an email, and I know what some of you are saying, email is not off limits. I should be able to send email. They don't have to open it, you say. And I know some of you are saying this because this is what I say. I do this right now. I'm delivering the episode and I'm telling you, I have an opportunity to improve. Like, not everybody wants to run as fast as me, and that doesn't make them wrong, right? I mean, I am the owner of the company. It's what I should be doing. But should I really expect other people to do that? Probably not. The other thing that people are really, really talking about is workplace wellness programs. A National Gallup study showed that 87% of employees consider wellness programs highly important to them, and 70% feel wellness programs positively impact their job satisfaction. So then it might be like, well, what's a wellness program? Well, it's everything from mental health support to gym memberships to stress management workshops. These are all things that contribute to better work-life balance and overall well-being. Another one, paid time off and mental health days. Paid time off, man, this is a big one. I had somebody recently that within a company that told me, hey, Jeff, I know that you have an influence around here. Hey, I just want to put a bug in your ear. I would rather have more time off than a pay raise next year. Can you float that up to the owners of the company? Like, I'm hearing this out there. Maybe you're not hearing it, but is it out there? Should we be asking? Can you do it? I don't know. But there was, back to what are people saying? I mean, I'm trying to educate here. 82% of employees believe having paid mental health days is crucial for balancing their personal lives and work. Additionally, more employees want to see their organizations encourage the use of paid time off without stigma or added pressure. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If it's in your culture, you know this, where people are like, feel like a loser when they take a day off work. Look, I've been in this environment where you got 4 or 5 weeks and you use 2 of them and it's a badge of honor because I'm committed to the mission. And look, the way to tell people that you're committed is don't take time off and focus on your work. And that's how you get promoted around here. And then as leaders, we start modeling this out. So what we're telling people is you have to do it this way. If you want to make it around here, and look, I get it. It's in the policy. And you tell people, yeah, you can take as much time. You can take your 4 weeks, but there's a stigma around doing it. We have to be so careful with this. The other one is reduced work hours. Now, this might really hit a nerve to the entrepreneur, to the leader. But surprisingly, 45% of employees say they would accept a reduction in salary if it meant achieving better work-life balance. This was a Deloitte survey. They would take lower pay, meaning you could cut their pay, cut your labor expenses. Just let me work less. This shows that balance is valued highly, sometimes even more than financial compensation. Let me ask you this. I'm just asking. Could you afford to give staff more time off? What if you had an employee that was working 40 hours, you could cut them to 20 hours and hire one more person at 20 hours? Same 40 hours. 2 people at 20. I don't know. But should we be getting creative thinking about this? Look, I will tell you this too. This might be another way to prevent burnout. Make them take their time off. It's not an option. You have 4 weeks. We're in Q4. You got a week left. You got 3 months to take your last week. This has to happen. You got to take your time off. Encouraging people to do it. And maybe it's like things are so busy. Maybe it's between the week of Christmas and New Year. I don't know. Or maybe if you have a system in place where they're allowed to carry over paid time off, and they're like, well, I'm going to bank all my time off until I'm 60 and I'm going to retire. Because I'm going to have 5 years of paid time off in my bank of paid time off, right? Most team members would rather book the time off than risk losing them, right? So if you have a system in place where it's like, yeah, you can just keep rolling over paid time off, maybe you consider eliminating that so it's a use it or lose it, so that you're kind of forcing people to take a break. And I know you might be saying, look, Jeff, if I reduced hours, or, I was encouraging people to take more time off, man, this would cost us a lot of money. And here's all I would say to that, to get you thinking. It would cost you a lot of money compared to what? Compared to the turnover rates that we've seen over the last 2-3 years? Compared to recruiting costs? I mean, I talked about this in the last 2 weeks about what is it costing us in turnover. What's it costing you when you lose a peak performer and you got to backfill them? We talked about it. On average, it's a year to a year and a half salary. That's a lot of cost as well. So this is a pay now or pay later. There's going to be cost either way. Another one that keeps coming up is childcare and family support. And look, I'm not here stereotyping anybody, but this is really important to lower income households. McKinsey reported recently that 75% of working parents expressed that access to child care support or family leave options would greatly improve their work-life balance. These family-friendly benefits, such as parental leave, child care support, these can make a huge difference on employee satisfaction. Huge difference. Because now you're not just throwing money at people. You're helping them solve problems. And often companies will lose great talent, especially moms, because they can't cater to the child care needs. And look, I'm not here stereotyping females, but this is the data. You run the risk, this, of losing the new mom because there's not child care that they're comfortable with, or they can't afford the child care, or they're doing the math and they're like, heck, I mean, if by the time I paid the child care, I might as well just stay home and take care of my kids. I'm only making $100 a week if I go to work. What would be the point? And so is there solutions to this problem? Chick-fil-A made it their business. Chick-fil-A took it to a whole nother level at their corporate office. They have their own on-site child care. On-site. Employees who enroll their children at their child care center, which is highly subsidized by Chick-fil-A, by the way, they pay a fractional cost of what typical daycare is. And by the way, their retention is great. There's more satisfaction. Their son, daughter is a walk away from them. If something were to happen, now they have peace of mind. Johnny had a tummy ache. I got to drop him off. Mom's thinking about it all day. Dad's thinking about it all day. When this Chick-fil-A center was forced to shut down for more than a year due to COVID, the company offered every employee that was using it a $750 monthly stipend to help with child care, elder care, and other dependent care costs. This is world class. This is unbelievable. I've also had clients that have started creating part-time roles that they've never had before, so that they wouldn't lose employees. Employee turns in their 2-week notice. Employer's like, oh my gosh, you've been the best thing. You've been with us for 15 years. Why are you leaving? And they're like, I can't do it anymore. I can only do 20 hours, so I'm looking for another job. And they're like, hold on. Let's figure this thing out. I'm just suggesting don't wait. Talk to people. What is it that they need and want? Don't put them in a position maybe that they have to turn in a 2-week notice. This could allow a parent to still create some income, but not incur the great expense of childcare. Childcare is ridiculous out there. Need I tell you all that's listening to have kids in childcare? I have a customer that allows some employees to start at 9 and finish their day early. Why? Because it was important to this parent that they could at least get their kid to the bus and get their kid off the bus. They got kids in 1st grade, 3rd grade kind of thing. And it's like, my spouse is already off to work by the time they get on the bus. They're young kids. I'm not going to head off to work and be like, good luck, kids. No. So when it comes to your kids, it's like, no, I'll quit my job. I'm going to put my children first. I wonder if we could just make a small tweak. So instead of them starting at 8 o'clock, could they start at 9 o'clock? Well, Jeff, if you do that for one, you got to do it for everybody. Okay. I'm just saying we got to be pretty open to some radical change based off of the turnover that we're seeing. You might not be able to go to this extent. You might not be able to do on-site childcare like Chick-fil-A. I get it. I couldn't do that either. But it does beg the question of what can we do and should we be thinking differently? The other one is career growth without sacrificing balance. Man, this one hits a nerve for me. Because it's like, so there's some cultures that it's like, look, if you want to grow your career, you're going to have to bleed a lot. You're going to have to sweat a lot. And look, if you know me, I'm about some sweat equity. I'm about putting in a day that makes you really sleep well at night. I'm here for it. But 76% of employees reported that they want career advancement opportunities that don't negatively affect or impact their work-life balance. Meaning they want promoted, but you know what? If it comes with 15 hours more a week, I'm out. You can take the private jet, you can take the increased retirement contributions, more time off, and you can shove that stuff because I'm out. I don't want that. I'll just stay right here where I'm at. I'd love to be promoted, but if it comes at that cost, I'm out. This suggests that career growth needs to be structured in ways that we respect personal time rather than adding excessive pressure to longer hours. Now, hear me out. There are times that you have got to put the axe straight to the grindstone and get after it, and I'm here for it. But what are your employees saying? Not everybody's wired like you. What are they saying that they want? And are you willing? Are you willing to die on that hill? Are you willing to lose good people? And if the answer is yes, hats off to you. I'm not here to run your company. I'm here to provoke thought, though. These stats reveal that employees are increasingly looking for more than just a flexible schedule. They want respect for their time. They want respect for their mental health. And most importantly, they want respect for their family obligations as a part of what they believe can be a well-rounded and sustainable work-life balance. And I'm crazy enough to believe that maybe it's possible. Here's some ideas that I want to give you from what I believe are some best-in-class customers that I have. Encourage your people to take breaks. Take a walk. Or walk to just different parts of the office. I'm not saying build a nature trail. But just get out of your cube, get out of your office, refresh your mind. There's something about this. But encourage breaks. This isn't, I'm gonna offend some people here, but this is very contrary to old school thinking. Air quotes, if you're listening by audio only. This is very contrary to old school thinking. It used to be, hey, if you want to tell people that you're really bought in here, be the first one in and the last one out. That used to be the thing, right? But here's the thing. Imagine transitioning your thought of, hey, everybody, we've been working really hard for the last 4 hours. Let's take a break. A break? Who is this? Who is this guy? Did somebody take over your mind? Like, some people might think you're nuts, but I wonder if we took a break, could we actually be increasing productivity? And here's the big one. Lead by example. Even if you're not wired this way, maybe your people need it. They need to see you model it out. Ensure that you, the leader, are also enjoying a healthy work-life balance too. Leave the office on time. Take breaks. Stop emailing your team outside of office hours, for goodness sake. Or expecting them to deliver work outside of normal hours. Unless it's an emergency and it's urgent. And look, I'm coming to grips with this myself. I'm not apologizing for taking breaks anymore. I run hard. I put in long days, right? And I'm not here to compare my work ethic to yours, right? But here's what I will tell you. I run hard almost to the point of sheer exhaustion, and then I'm shutting down for 5 days. And it used to be I would do this a couple times a year. Now, I'm doing this once every 8 weeks max. And if I can do it more often, I do. And I will tell you this. I come back so refreshed, so energized. My thought is clear. I'm less tormented by people. Hey, can I be honest? And I know I got clients listening, and it's none of my clients, okay? So I love y'all. I get agitated. I get irritated. You know, I'm problem solving, conflict resolution. It's like, I mean, some days you're just like, I'm going nuts. Like, I'm feeling like I'm carrying the load of the world, and I'm going to come unglued. I'm about to throw a chair. It's like you're ready to lose it. So you got to take this little bit of a break and clear your thoughts and remind yourself your purpose, your mission, why it's important, you start to get your head back a little bit. I wonder what a little break could do. I wonder if you modeled this out as a leader, telling your entire team, this kind of thing's important. And it's what's going to create health. Reassess your perks, maybe. Research revealed that while 40% of business owners believe office games, similar things like office games, like the ice cream socials on Friday, that they think 40% of leaders think this is important to employees. But check this out. 5% of workers agree. 5% of people want the ping pong table. So get rid of the ping pong table, maybe. If you're considering perks such as office perks of some kind, hold off on the ping pong table. They don't want that. 5% do. So you'll be a hero to 5%. What we really need to find out is, what is a good office perk to them? There might be additional services that can save employees time. Time is valuable to me. You come into my life and save me time, you have just made a best friend. They may want more time than they want money to alleviate stress and increase work-life balance. Look, the options could be endless. Maybe you give them a gym membership, or at least subsidize a gym membership. Maybe it's a fitness class or some hot yoga. Maybe it's a discount at the dry cleaners, or a gift card for dry cleaning so that they don't have to iron shirts. What's that save you? A week, a month, a year? I don't know. Maybe you bring a massage therapist into the office to help relieve some stress. Maybe you help staff with tax returns or tax support. I mean, how exhausting is that? I remember starting out as a professional and I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I have no clue about taxes, how they work, what you need. Maybe you offer that to your employees. Well, that's going to cost us something, Jeff. There's a cost to get and cost to use, right? Think about what's right for your people and your company, and design experiences that are personalized and customized to your workforce and your people. It's a moving target. I'm just here to provoke some thought and tell you, if you keep doing it like you've always done it, you're going to get left behind. The labor force is screaming. And we've probably all felt this to some extent. And I don't know if today's episode helped you or it just created more leadership anxiety, like, oh my gosh, every time I listen to this show, there's more to do. I think it's much better to have the tension of, we have a problem to solve and we have an opportunity, than recovering from something that could be catastrophic. And I realize some of the things I presented today, they're not even an option for some of you. And I'm empathetic towards that. The key is to find out what you can do to take small steps to move forward. And I will say the shift in demand from people is great enough that we can't ignore it. It's a monumental shift. We've seen this. I would go as far as to say that the companies that figure this out, and they do it well, will likely also have the greatest competitive advantage that there is. How valuable is competitive advantage to you? And for most of us, our biggest competitive advantage is often the people that we employ. Companies that are finding out how to attract and retain the best people, they know this, and they're the ones that are winning. The best people know, the best leaders know, every employee is different. And what they do is then they design the experience that can work and is customized for the people on their team, knowing that it's a moving target. If your company is serious about creating a better work-life balance for your team, there is not, and I promise you, there is not a one-size-fits-all that works. You can't just go read, the Forbes article and say, everybody, gather around. I got great news. We now, instead of us leaving at 4 o'clock on Friday, we're going to leave at 3 o'clock. And that is going to solve all our problems. No, sir, it's not. It may help. But what we need is a tailored approach to the specific team that we're leading right now. How does your company's work-life balance stack up? That's your report card question. Are you doing anything amazing that has received some great feedback from your team? If so, I need to hear it. I would love to hear it, because I'm at the tip of the spear in helping organizations, and maybe I'll share some of your thoughts on a future episode. If you have some things that are working for you, we would love to hear from you. Make sure that you email us at info@jeffhancher.com. Until next week, keep fighting for this work-life balance for you and for your team, and keep turning the pressure into potential.